Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to welcome everyone to the November 26th meeting, regular business meeting of the Grosse Ile Township Board of Trustees. Let's begin with the Pledge of Allegiance, and we'll go into the meeting. Actually, we stand in open meeting, so we'll just say a Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So I want to start with a reflection on our swearing-in ceremony last week. It was absolutely just a wonderful event for those of you. I want to thank those of you who took the time to come that evening. For those who didn't, it was attended by our Congressman, John Dingell, our State Senator, Coleman Young II was here, and our State Representative, Pat Somerville, all took the time out of their schedules to come and support us in the swearing-in ceremony. It was a great event. Two of our members were unable to make it that evening. I didn't want Mr. Malvesto getting killed in traffic. He made a Herculean effort to get here, but the safer course of action was to get home safely. And Mrs. Smith, Lauren Smith, was detained on a family vacation in Florida and couldn't make it back in time. I know it sounds tough. But our clerk, Mr. Ranka, is volunteered and thought it would be a good event. We're going to swear them in for you tonight, our newest trustees. So we'll begin with an oath ceremony. So, Mr. Ranka, it's your show. We were doing so well.
Yeah. This thing's off. How about this? Does this work?
Everybody's awake.
Okay. Well, Tom and Lauren, you don't have the same privilege as we did, being sworn in by the Supreme Court Justice, but I'll do my best to make it a good swearing in. So we'll do it singly, or So, Lauren, you want to go first? Okay. So raise your right hand. Please repeat after me. I.
I, Lauren Smith,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I support the Constitution of the United States
that I support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this state,
and the Constitution of this state,
that I will faithfully discharge the duties
that I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office
of Township Trustee
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you. Welcome.
I, Tom Malvesto,
Do solemnly swear
that
I support the Constitution
of the United States
and the Constitution of this state,
and the Constitution of this state,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of
trustee
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Clerk. Moving on, let's see. We have no presentation scheduled. Additions, deletions to the agenda.
Mr. Supervisor, I have two requests.
Mr. Posiask.
I would like to request that action items number 5 and 7 both be stricken from the action items tonight.
Looking for support?
Take one at a time.
Okay, well, that's right. We do have to do one at a time. Let's go with action item
Number 5, first one.
with 5. And I'll second reasoning.
I've not had an opportunity to review any of those candidates, and some of them have just come in very recently.
I agree that we'd like to have some more board notification before, again, the one gentleman I do know, but I don't know of his qualifications, like a little more time, and we could easily put this off for 2 weeks and give us time to do our diligence and learn more about these candidates. This one does control a major portion of our budget. Comments from the board? Those in favor of deferring, I'm sorry, I didn't see it, Tom.
The mic isn't working.
There you go.
There it
Fixed
goes.
it.
All right. I have to take, I'm assuming that in number 5, the DPS commission appointments, these applicants have been both interviewed and vetted by the commission?
We don't know.
Well, that's what I'm asking. So it's like, I'm assuming, but have they?
I don't know.
To my knowledge, they've been reviewed and interviewed by the chairman of the commission, the DPS manager, and myself as liaison. I do not believe that either one of them has gone in front of the full board, full commission.
Was there any objection to either of these candidates?
Traditionally, commission members, especially for the DPS commission, do not go through full commission approval. Been a tradition anyway. You might want to change that if you'd like, but there was no objections from the liaison, which is myself, from the chairman, which is Mr. Kostick, or the DPS manager, which is Barry.
Mr. Supervisor? I also have a microphone that doesn't work.
With the red lights on, I think.
Is it?
They're working.
I see no harm in waiting 2 weeks and letting people look at these things.
That would be my preference. The one application was dated November 18th. The DPS has not met. That's very recent, a week. DPS has not met since that application was forwarded. Although I know the individual, I'm not prepared.
I don't know the individual. I'm just asking for the opportunity to get to know.
Other comments from the board? On a 2-week delay to the December 10th meeting. Mr. Buddy.
I just point out that the commission has followed its normal process, although the people don't come before the commission. They are somewhat discussed with us. Because I said up to this past week I sat on the DPS, and being that the normal procedure had been followed, I would think that we should just follow through and make a decision on this.
Other comments from the board? Well, in that case, when none offered, we will, those in favor of Mr. Posiask's motion to defer for 2 weeks till the November 10th meeting, the DPS commission appointments, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Okay, opposed?
Opposed.
Nay.
Okay, 4-3, that one will stand on the agenda items. Your second one was action item 7.
That's correct.
And I'll second that one also for the same reasoning. The board, nobody has seen the applicant's application. It was passed. I had some umbrage with that. I know again, we need to get our arms around a better methodology of approving our commission committee members, because they do the lion's share of the work, but we're responsible for the outcome.
Mr. Chair,
Ms. Posias.
I would like to clarify my position. 4 years ago, when I came off of the township board, I made applications in for 2 commissions, and at that time was told by the township board that former members of the township board were not going to be entertained for commissions or committees for a period of time. And I think that that's a fair cooling off period, a realignment period. I made no comments or clarifications of any abilities or disagreements or whatever reasons you have, other than I think that's a good idea. Even though I didn't agree with it 4 years ago, I agree with it now.
Other comments from the board? Mr. Van Oss.
My same comment. This particular commission chooses to review and vet their commission appointments. This has been done. See no reason to take it off the board, off the agenda.
Well, I really would like the board to see these applicants, chance to vet them, to get our words in before we're here in public meeting trying to support or oppose a position. Other comments from the board? Mr. Malvesto.
For the same statements I made, the commission has interviewed and has vetted the candidate. It appears to be a unanimous decision amongst themselves, amongst the quorum that was available as that attending that meeting. And I just, at this point in time, to delay it or to not to approve it, I don't see any purpose in that. I think that the person in question has had a long service with this township. She's one vote on a commission, and then the commission comes before this board, and we all have one vote in regards to whatever the issue is. Commissions are required to do their due diligence on certain projects that involve a lot of money, large dollars. We trust them when they come before us with those decisions. I don't see any reason not to trust them in this case as well.
Other comments from the board? This same commission vetted and forwarded, or began to forward an applicant until at the 11th hour some information came out that made it obvious that the applicant was not suitable for the appointment, and the name was withdrawn. So there's precedent. And I really think I'd like the board to see these applicants, to have a chance to do their diligence, do our diligence, to do our investigation, and we end up with a responsibility. So we should have much more input. This was something Mr. Johnson brought up 3 years ago, and unfortunately we hadn't acted on it. I'll take some responsibility for that. But we are responsible for the outcome. We need more responsibility and more input other than blindly trusting. Usually it's not a problem, trusting what gets sent before us, because you only have the expertise and the enthusiasm of the 5 to 7 to 9 members of that particular commission. Again, they're not responsible for the outcome. We are. Other comments from the board? Mr. Malvesto?
I'd just like to say one more thing, that this person has been in the public eye for better than 15 years. We all know the person. We've all seen her in action. I have no reason to doubt that she doesn't have the expertise and the direction to fulfill this position. I'll hold my ground.
Other comments from the board? Mr. Rankin? Mr. Clerk?
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Just really briefly, when I see the commissions that do the bulk of the work on the island, when I see them come forward and suggest a candidate, I really feel that they should be heard in their voices. Those are the teams that are going to have to work together for as long as their terms exist. So I definitely put a lot of stake in that. So when a candidate has been vetted by the commission, I definitely would like to see it voted on.
Okay, other comments from the board?
Mr. Supervisor, might I just re-emphasize my reason? It has nothing to do with performance or issues. It has to do with a practice that was instituted 4 years ago, and I wonder why it is not followed now.
I wish I could answer, because I was advised of the same thing from a totally different source and understood the reasoning at the time. But since we can't produce as a document, to my knowledge, Mrs. Gray, are you aware of any restrictions? Has this been brought up at a meeting before?
I do not feel I can answer that question because it's 4 years ago, and
Okay.
I have no knowledge of it at this point in time. I'm sure it's in the minutes if it happened.
Maybe it never got to the board. Well, Mr. Prozias, your position has been made. My position has been made. Mr. Budney?
Mr. Supervisor, although I agree with pretty much everything that's been said by Eric and Tom, I think because of the controversy involved in this one, 2 weeks would not cause any harm to see what documentation there is, something other than accusations or allegations, which is what we want to see. And 2 weeks isn't too long to take a look at that.
Thank you, Mr. Budney. Other comments from the board? All right, with none offered, those in favor of deferring until the December 10th meeting, the appointment to the Communication Commission, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Opposed?
Nay.
Okay, I hear, let's go with a roll call vote. Then, Mr. Prozias.
Aye.
Mrs. Smith. Mr. Malvesto.
Nay.
Mr. Budney.
Aye.
Clerk Ranka.
Nay.
Treasurer Van Oss.
Nay.
Supervisor votes aye. Should give us 4-3. That will be deferred until, plan that as an action item for the December 10th board meeting. Other additions, deletions to the agenda? All right, with none offered, I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
So moved.
Moved by Clerk Ranka.
Second.
Seconded by Trustee Budney. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We have an amended agenda. Mr. Treasurer.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda 12-097, which has several items. First one is to approve the minutes of the October 22nd, 2012 regular meeting, approve the minutes of the November 8th, 2012 special meeting, to approve the check register dated November 1st, 2012, to approve the check register dated November 16th, 2012, to approve the Ferry Road grinder pump projection resolution, to approve Albemarle drainage project resolution, 33rd District Court budget acceptance, and the holiday event attendance resolution by the Township Board.
Okay, I have a motion on the consent agenda from Treasurer Van Oss.
Second.
Seconded by Clerk Ranka. Any discussion among the board on those items? All right, with none offered, I will, those in favor of approving the consent agenda as published signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Mr.
I'm sorry.
Supervisor, I don't oppose it, but I'd like to abstain because I cannot say that I can be accurate as to the minutes. I'm not familiar with them.
Thank you, Mr. Budney. Having not been there, you can make that, you can abstain? Okay, our parliamentarian agrees. With one abstention and 6 ayes, the consent agenda is approved. Action items. Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Supervisor, I'd like to move to confirm the designation of township board members to serve as liaison to the following township commissions during their term of office or until further action. And I'll list them out. The Airport Commerce Park and Brownfield Authority, Ted Van Oz. The Communication Commission, Lauren Smith. The Fire Commission, Tom Malvesto. The Police Commission, Eric Ranka. The Community Recreation Commission, Tom Malvesto. The Open Space and Greenways Committee, Wally Posiak. The Planning Commission, Eric Ranka. The Festival Commission, Lauren Smith. The Zoning Board of Appeals, Jim Bundy. The Department of Public Service Commission, Jim Bundy. And the Bicycle Pedestrian Advisory Commission, Wally Posiak.
Can I have a motion? I will second it. Just second. You have to record one. I'll give it to Treasurer Van Oss. Okay, this was what we were doing in a study session, agreeing among ourselves with some discussion as to who will best serve the township. Any further discussion among the board? This is an action item. Any discussion among the public present on the liaisons to the various commissions? With none offered, those in favor of approving the assignments to the commissions as recently read by Clerk Ranka, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None offered. Now we can get to work. And Mr. Budney, since you volunteered to be the liaison to Public Service Commission, I will allow you to introduce the Public Service Commission related action items, starting with number 2.
Starting with number 2. Okay. Thank you, Barry.
You may be up there for a while.
I saved me having to ask you to come up. I want to make a motion to award the Albemarle Drainage Project bid to Combo Brothers, who were the lowest bidder in the amount of $34,247, based on the recommendation of the Charles Raines Company.
Support.
Okay, moved by Mr. Budney and supported by Treasurer Van Oss. The background, please.
Background, Barry.
It was, but
How's it? Got it. Okay, we're good. Yes, this was brought forward by the DPS Commission. Occasionally, the DPS Commission has a drainage project that they feel that it's worthwhile that they remedy in the community, and this is probably the second one that I can recall. The other one was on Brook Circle a few years ago. This was a major drainage problem in the area of South Point, Wilbur, and Albemarle, backyard drainage. There were times in the backyards of 3 or 4 houses over there where the water got 3 feet deep in the spring of the year. So consequently, the DPS Commission decided to put this particular drainage project in the budget. It's a budgeted item spelled out specifically in this current year's budget. We received bids, and the low bidder was $34,274 from Compo Brothers. And the budgeted amount that we had for this project was $60,000. So,
do you have the overhead, the Google shot, and put it on the overhead projector, or take mine, just to show where the area is next to the pool, that adjacent lot?
I have a diagram of the overhead for the houses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the area just, I'll get my bearings here, north of the pool, where it's covered with trees. That was the area that was underwater, was causing damage to the adjacent homes. It was flooding so deeply.
This area right in here was the area that was always underwater in the spring. And if you see that dashed line,
The light blue dash line.
that light blue dashed line, in the backyards is where it's going to start, and it's going to follow that blue dashed line out to Albemarle. It's going to cross the road,
And it's going to tie into the existing storm sewer system in the township. And that's basically what the project consists of. We have to go between a couple of homes that face Albemarle. We have procured one of the easements, documents. The other party I've spoke to, and they're going to be stopping in to sign those documents. So nothing's really going to take place till those documents get signed, but it looks like everything's in place to do
There's
the
no
project.
pumps required, this is just
No,
a gravity?
this is a gravity system.
Okay. Any comments on this project for Mr. Sedlock?
When is the construction or the drainage supposed to be installed?
We still would like to do it this year,
Yeah.
weather permitting, but like I said, we still have to wait for that one easement document to come through, and as soon as that does, then we'll be able to move forward.
Right.
And I'm very hopeful that we can still get it done this fall, so we don't have the problem in the spring. In fact, this is an ideal time to do it. If we can get it in before it gets too muddy, then we can come back first sign of spring when it starts drying up, and we can restore the area and plant the grass seed back and get everybody back in shape for summer. So we're still hopeful for this year.
Okay. Other comments from the board, from Mr. Sedlock?
Just a question.
Mr. Treasurer?
Barry, we still waiting for the one easement?
Yes.
Have you contacted them?
Yes, I've spoke with them, and they finally did respond, and I think they were out of town, and I talked to the lady of the house, and they're going to stop in and sign the document, so.
All right, thanks, Barry.
Very good.
At this time, I have no reason to believe that they're not going to, so.
Okay. Any other comments from the board? Any comments from the public present? With that, this drainage grant program, I think it's been one of the township's more successful endeavors. It's a little different for townships to offer this. It's working, and I'm looking for another. I know the families involved. I know the problems they've had. I think we're going to see some success here, and thanks for pursuing this. I know it's been a long time coming. With that said, those in favor of approving, flip my page back here, of awarding the Albemarle Drainage Project bid to the Campo Brothers, the amount of $34,247, based on the recommendation of the Charles E. Raines Company, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None offered? Motion carries. Very good.
Next item. Motion to authorize repair of the channel monster located at the wastewater treatment plant. Estimated cost $14,000, and this is a single source item.
Support.
Okay. Moved by Mr. Bedney and supported by Treasurer Van Oss. Want to turn it over to Mr. Sedlock again?
I would love to. I would like to say that Mr. Kostic, the chairman of the DPS, would have liked to have been here tonight, but he's tied up in another meeting out in Brighton, or he'd be up there holding Barry up.
Okay. Yes, this channel monster, as it's called, is a single source item. It's a component in the plant that takes and grinds up the larger objects that come through and make them a little more passable through our pumps in our system. I believe the last time that this was overhauled was in 2001, and we've got about 10, 12 years out of it, which is normal. And from time to time, these have to be taken out and rebuilt, and that's basically what we're doing with this one right now.
I just love the name, Channel Monster.
The wastewater treatment plant has some unique names for certain components of the plant, so.
Well, they have a unique purpose, too.
Yes.
Discussion, we have a motion, a second discussion among the board. Nobody really wants to get into these, into the internal workings of wastewater treatment.
The only question I have...
Mr. Rankin.
Thanks, Mr. Supervisor. The only question I have is, why is this a single source?
Generally, what happens during the installation of these components originally, when the plant is built, there are certain components that make up any type of wastewater treatment plant, water treatment plant, that when they're specified to be put in a plant, they're bid at that particular time, but they're company specific when you purchase them and install them. And once you do that, you know going in that basically these are single source parts items, and wastewater treatment plant has many of those.
Barry,
Yes.
just to add to that, this is one of two, and the whole system is mounted. And I think basically we send this back.
We do.
and they completely overhaul it, new motors, new bearings, new everything, comes back as a brand-new unit, and this is the company that manufactures it, so that's why it's single source.
Okay. Other questions, comments from the board? Comments, questions from the public present? All right, if none offered, those in favor of authorizing the repair of a channel monster located at the wastewater treatment plant, estimated single source cost of $14,000, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None offered? Motion carries. All right, Mr. Bundy.
Moving right along. I'd like to make a motion to approve the purchase of Wonderware Historian software for the wastewater treatment sewage retention basin computer terminal in the amount of $15,814. It includes installation and setup. Jerry?
Support.
Seconded by Treasurer Van Oss.
Okay, yes, this software is installed in the plant to assist the operation of the plant by computer. What we're replacing is very old. It still has the Windows 7 capability, so it needs to be updated and modernized. And we have 3 computers over there that we install this equipment on. And right now, in fact, up until about 2 weeks ago, out of the 3 computers, we didn't have any of them working. And the plant can function on its own without this aid, but you have to run the plant manually if we would have a rain event. So what we did, as it says in the documents here, we had to purchase one item in this to get it up and running, to at least get one computer operational before we get this stuff purchased. So this, what we have here tonight, is going to complete the package, and it will update the 3 computers in the plant. So we basically have an internal SCADA system within our plant to assist us in the operation of it.
Okay, this was upgraded. This is an upgrade to get away from XP, which has been slowly disappearing from the Microsoft world for the last 6 or 7 years. Windows 8 is out now. Will it be compatible going through Windows 8?
I don't know that for certain, but I'm pretty sure that it is.
Okay. Other questions, comments from the board? At some point, we're going to have to decide and move the whole township to one operating system. We're not there now. Just have everything compatible, whether it be Windows 7, Windows 8, but we're going to have to do it. So hopefully, I think Windows, beyond my expertise, I hope it'll be very similar or just a very minor upgrade. That will be some time coming. Other questions, comments from the board? Man, nobody wants to talk about wastewater treatment plants. Any questions, comments from the public present? If none, those in favor of approving the purchase of Wonderware Historian software for the wastewater treatment plant sewage retention basin computer terminal in the amount of $15,814, including installation and setup, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None offered.
Thank you.
Let's upgrade it.
Thanks, Jerry.
Okay.
All right. And,
Mr. Budney.
Finally, I'd like to make a motion to approve the appointment of David R. Nadeau to the Public Service Commission for the term length November 26, 2012 to April 4th, 2014. Based upon the recommendation of the Public Service Commission, William Kostick, Chairman, and Ted Van Oss, Township Board Liaison at the time. And also to approve the appointment of Ronald J. Wilder to the Public Service Commission for the term length November 26, 2012 to April 4th, 2014. Again, based on the recommendation of the Public Service Commission, William Kostick, Chairman, Ted Van Oss, Township.
Support.
Okay, moved by Mr. Budney and seconded by Treasurer Van Oss to forward both of the appointments. Any discussion among the board?
Just point out that the...
Oh, I'm sorry, the background.
Yeah, the background is these appointments are to backfill the vacancies left by Wally and myself moving up to trustee.
Discussion among the board. This was one of the items, the consideration, not that it's any reflection on the individuals, it's just the reflection on the lack of previous knowledge on people who are going to be in the most expensive part of township budget, and accordingly, probably the most important. Again, further discussion among the board on these appointments.
Mr. Supervisor.
Mr. Posiask.
Again, I will just state that both of these gentlemen I don't know, and I am unaware if those applications were the only applications available for the position. And I think that the opportunity to let the commission certainly know about people that are going to be sitting next to them on a commission should be acknowledged throughout the commission. And I don't know that that took place, but I think it should, and that's my position.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Posiask. Other comments from the board? Comments from the public present on these appointments? All right, with none offered, since this was under contention, I'm going to ask for a roll call vote again. And I'm going to lead for the very reasons it was initially brought up. I'm going to vote nay at this time. Mr. Van Ross?
Support.
Okay, that's an aye vote?
It's an aye vote.
Okay, Mr. Ranka?
Aye.
Mr. Bundy?
Aye.
Mr. Molesto?
Aye.
Mrs. Smith?
I'd also like to clarify my position from the standpoint of, because these applications were on file and we did have an opportunity to see them before approving, I think that that's probably a good process.
And Mr. Posiask?
Nay.
And the motion carries. And thank those gentlemen for volunteering to serve. On to number 6, the Senior Alliance. I move that Township Board approve the appointment of Mr. Jack Frucci to serve on the Senior Alliance Advisory Council for an undetermined length of office. That has not been defined by the Senior Alliance to me. Looking for support for Mr. Frucci.
Support.
Okay, seconded by Mr. Posiask. And back on it, Mrs. Helen Morrison has decided to end her service to the Senior Alliance. She had been Grosse Ile Township's representative. And Mr. Robert Brown, who is the Executive Director of the Senior Alliance, personally asked me to recommend another Grosse Ile representative to the Alliance. Mr. Frucci has volunteered to apply for the vacancy on the Senior Alliance Advisory Council. They have changed their structure in the Senior Alliance. Normally, each community nominated a member of the Board of Directors. That was the position Mrs. Morrison held. The board now sets up their own Board of Directors. The Advisory Council contributes to that. But they have an Advisory Council meeting next week. Again, this is somewhat short notice but the Advisory Council has a meeting early in December. We are the oldest community downriver. I felt it imperative that Grosse Ile be represented. I therefore respectfully request that the Grosse Ile Township Board of Trustees thank Mrs. Helen Morrison for her service to the residents as a member of the Senior Alliance Board of Trustees and support Mr. Jack Frucci as a candidate for the Senior Alliance Advisory Council. Discussion among the board.
Does he need to be approved by somebody else?
We will forward his recommendation, and their advisory council will further scrutinize his application.
Okay.
Other comments? We all pretend we're not becoming seniors, but it's getting more and more important to all of us.
Mr. Loftus, point of clarification. The statement you just read, did you want that as part of the motion, or is that just your explanation?
That's just my explanation.
Okay, thank you.
I know it's not well defined what the position is, and it was much clarified to me in conversations with the Senior Alliance today. Other comments from the board? None offered from the public present. All right, with none offered, those in favor of approving the appointment of Mr. Jack Frucci to potentially serve on the Senior Alliance, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None offered. First, thank you, Mrs. Morrison, for your service, and thank you, Mr. Frucci, for volunteering.
Mr. Supervisor, I would like to make a motion Based on the recommendation of the Airfield Commerce Park Manager, the Grosse Ile Airport Commerce Park Commission recommends that the Grosse Ile Township Board execute contract number 2012-0726, pavement remarking of runway 422 with Michigan Department of Transportation. Total project cost is $33,000. The airport share of the Township Airport Commerce Park share of this is $825. Mike, you
Looking for support?
Support.
Okay, seconded by Clerk Branca. Now,
This basically occurred when we had members of MDOT come out to inspect some repairs we did on runway 1735. While they were here, they noted that the markings on runway 422 were starting to deteriorate and needed to be remarked. It could probably wait a year or two max, but they were able to give it to me at the old local match rate at 2.5% instead of the new 5%. So it's half the cost now to do it, and we do have extra monies available in our line item for that. So I figured we would go ahead and get it at the lower rate. Hopefully we'll be able to get it in this year, weather pending. And this is also, I forgot to add in there that this is an in-house project by MDOT.
okay, we will be contracting it out then, not MDOT?
No, MDOT will handle it, and they have an in-house company
it's
handle it.
in-house for them, not us.
Yep.
Okay. Questions, comments from the board? All right, none offered from the public present? Glad you didn't have to read this whole contract.
Maybe here for a while.
Yeah. Okay, those in favor of approving execution of contract number 2012-0726, the pavement remarking of runway 422 with Michigan Department of Transportation, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? None offered? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Duker.
Mr. Supervisor, I'd like to make a motion based on the recommendation of the Airfield Commerce Park Manager and Grosse Ile Airport Commerce Park Commission that the Grosse Ile Township Board authorize Michael Duker to sign contract, revised terms and conditions of accepting airport improvement grants with the Michigan Department of Transportation.
I have a motion by Treasurer Van Oss.
Second.
Seconded by Trustee Budney. Mr. Duker.
This is basically the updated contract to incorporate the FAA Modernization and Reforms Act. An edited document basically comes out anytime a new act comes out. It's about every other year or every year, depending on what gets passed by the government. Most of the changes in this had to have referred to revenues being returned into the airport, which is not an issue here. All the revenue gets returned back into the airport, so we had no conflict with that. The Airport Advisory Committee and the Commerce Park Commission both approved this document. And I also consulted with legal staff at our airport engineering firm, CNS, with one of their lawyers who specializes in these contracts. And we walked through all the changes, and he did not see any conflicts with it.
Okay, questions, comments from the board? I'm glad you're handling these, not me. Questions, comments from the public present? All right, with none offered, those in favor of approving Mr. Michael Duker, the Airport Commerce Park Manager, to authorize him to sign the contracts, revised terms and conditions of accepting airport improvement grants with Michigan Department of Transportation, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Congratulations, that carries, and a little more work for you. Mr. Budney.
No, I'll handle this one.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Based on the recommendation of the Airfield Commerce Park Manager, Grosse Ile Airport Commerce Park Commission, recommend the Township Board execute contract number 2013-0017, Phase 2 Pavement Investigation of Runway 17-35 and Taxiway A with the Michigan Department of Transportation. Total cost of the project will be $65,500, and our local match is $1,638.
Looking for support?
Support.
Okay, seconded by Mr. Budney. Take it away.
This is basically, we did a Phase 1 investigation in the springtime to help us out with some problems that we're seeing in runway 1735. We're seeing some early deterioration in the pavement, And we've had some blow-ups also in the pavement, some unexpected ones that can be very hazardous to incoming planes. Basically, after the Phase 1, we met with MDOT and our engineers, and it was noted that we need to perform a Phase 2 investigation. This will include some core samplings and borings to test the cement. We think there's what they call it an ASR reaction. It's basically a chemical reaction that happens in cement. It normally happens 30 or 40 years down the road, but we're seeing it a little earlier, and they want to investigate that more. Also, they think there may be some drainage problems off to the west side of the runway, and this will basically give us kind of a more in-depth way for long-term solutions for the runway.
When was that runway paved?
2000. It's 12 years old.
Okay, and we have a 20-year expected, we're bound for 20 years on
Yes.
that program, and it's deteriorating prematurely by most any standards. When did we repave 422? That was like
2004.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we're having no problems there.
No problems there. Nothing out of the ordinary.
Okay. Well, before my time too, as to who was doing the paving, what kind of mix they used. Any questions, comments from the board? Mr. Bundy.
Mike, is this going to have anything to do with our action item number 8 and the remarking? Will that would there be any conflict? Will we be doing anything on that remarking and then coming in here and tearing it up?
No, those are on different runways.
They
Just to
are?
clarify. Yep.
Okay.
The remarking's on 422. The investigation's on 1735.
Other questions, comments from the board? Nobody wants to talk about wastewater treatment? Nobody wants to talk about anything. Comments from the public present? All right, with none offered. Those in favor of, those in favor of the Grosse Ile Township Board executing contract number 2013-0017, Phase 2 Pavement Investigation Runway 17/35 and Taxiway Alpha with MDOT, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None offered. That motion carries.
Moving on to the next one, based on the recommendation of the Airfield Commerce Park Manager and the Airport Commerce Park Commission, recommend the Township Board execute an agreement to execute an amendment to contract 210-0408, amendment to MDOT contract for Phase 1 perimeter fencing with the Michigan Department of Transportation. Total adjustment amount of this contract would be $3,252.
The local share will be $82.
Oh, okay, I see that. What's this about?
This is basically we were closing out a project with.
1 second.
I'm sorry.
Second.
All right, I'll give this one to Mr. Malvesto, seconded by Mr. Malvesto. Mike?
Sorry about that. This is basically we were closing out a project that we participated in 2010. It was to install higher perimeter fencing around the airport. Basically what occurred here on the west side of the airport, when they were drilling the posts for the fencing, they ran into some unexpected bedrock, which ran into higher costs and more equipment needed. And that's the $3,252 adjustment, and our share of that is $82. So, although it's a small amount, I still have to get a board approval on it.
That's just dealing with the state. And I'm surprised we've gone this long before them demanding improvements in the perimeter fencing. I think Derek and I did a drive around and found 14 gates. A lot of them Derek didn't know we had. So it's I'm surprised we've been this long before we've improved the perimeter fencing. Other questions, comments from the board? Same situation. None offered. I'm sorry, from the public present. None offered. Those in favor of Grosse Ile Township Board executing the amendment to contract number 2010-0408, amendment to Michigan Department of Transportation contract for Phase 1 perimeter fencing with the Michigan Department of Transportation, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? None offered. That motion also carries.
Thank you.
That will conclude our action items. We'll move on to the clerk's report. Mr. Rankin.
Mr. Supervisor, in the spirit of Thanksgiving, I'd just like to say thanks to the voters for putting the 7 of us up here. We'll do our best, at least I can speak for myself, and I'll do my best to serve you. Very thankful for having the other 6 members up here, both the people I've served with in the past and the new people. So I know that we will have disagreements in the future, but expect that we'll be able to get through those in a professional manner and at the end of the day make the decisions that are right for the Township of Grosse Ile. So just thanks to the public for putting us all up here, and thanks in advance for my board members and colleagues for the 4 years we have ahead of us. And then from a liaison report, there's a Bike Path Commission tomorrow night, 7:30 in this room. There'll be a Planning Commission meeting on the 3rd of December, again in this room at 7:30. And then there will be a Police Commission meeting on the 11th of December at the Public Safety Building. And that's it for the clerk's report.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Renka. Treasurer's report. Treasurer Van Oss.
Excuse me. Currently, for the month of October, gross seal had a total of $10,819,002. Invested in various types of accounts. These accounts generated interest income from $4,214.65 with an average interest rate of 0.22%. I have a sheet that anybody wants it. It's available at my office. The Treasurer's Office will be working on 2012 winter tax bills, my semi-annual greeting to all residents. Mailing date is scheduled for November 30th, 2012. That will be your winter tax bill. Those who qualify may apply for deferment. The date due of winter tax bills, the deferment will be extended to extend the due date to February 14, 2013. The due date of February 14, 2013 to April 30th, 2013. Please contact the Treasurer's Office to receive the deferment information. The deferment forms which show the qualifications will also be available in my office. Pet tags for 2013 are now available. Bringing the valid rabies vaccination to obtain your tag. I don't know when my next commission meeting is. I guess, Mike? First Monday of the month? Third Monday. And my DPS is, okay. That's all I have. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Treasurer Van Oss. Trustee reports. Mr. Posias.
No report this evening.
Mrs. Smith.
No reports, just looking forward to serving as well as working with the two commissions.
Very good. Mr. Malvesto.
Not to be redundant, but as Mr. Renka said, I want to thank everybody for entrusting me and putting me back on this board. I appreciate that very much. I look forward to working forward with the two commissions that I'll now be associated with, being fire and being recreation. I'm going to pass down the Island Fest committee, but I'm sure it's going into good hands. And again, we'll always be in agreement, but we're always got open ears, and we're going to do our best to serve this township and the residents that make it up. So thank you very much. And I will be getting with Mr. Rooney and getting the dates for the upcoming meetings. I'm sorry, I don't have that. And the fire commission, yeah.
That's okay. Thank you, Mr. Malvesto. Mr. Bundy.
I too would like to thank the people of Roselle. We had a terrific turnout this past election. I believe it was around 78% of our electorate got out and voted, and certainly we'd love to see that every time there's an election. I'm looking forward to being liaison to the DPS, which is a commission that's near and dear to my heart, and also serving on the ZBA. The next DPS meeting is December 11th, and the next ZBA meeting is tomorrow, so I get to go right to work. I just look forward to working with everybody. I think this board is going to accomplish a lot, and I'm glad that I can be part of it.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Bundy. Well, with that leads back to the supervisor's report. First, I'm going to invite Mr. Rooney, if you would, give us a schedule of events for Island Glow. It's coming up this Friday night. So far, the weather looks promising. It shouldn't be a howling blizzard for a
Yep.
change, and it shouldn't be that cold. So
No, the weather forecast seemed pretty pleasant for Friday night, and want to welcome the new board members and the old board members back. Yes, this Friday, November 30th, is the Township tree lighting and island glow, and things kick off at 6:15 at the Macomb Commons. There'll be music, there'll be the Downriver Brass, the Groves Hill Children's Choir, and then the Downriver Brass comes out again later in the program. The high school band isn't available this year because of a play at the high school, and quite a few of the students are involved in that. Some people think we changed the date, but it's pretty much the same weekend, even though it's November 30th, and I've had a few calls on that, but it's pretty much the same timing. So Island Glow, 6:15 to 6:30, Downriver Brass, 6:30 to 6:45, Groves Hill Children's Choir, Downriver Brass, 6:45 to 6:55, holiday greeting from the Supervisor Loftus, Welcome Santa and key presentation, 7 to 7:05, Supervisor and Township Board members, and then we do the Santa Stroll on Macomb, and the Downriver Brass will be playing throughout that. That'll be about a 20-25-minute walk with the community down Macomb, and it's really beautiful. The street lights are lit up, and there's Christmas decorations. One thing I want to give a shout out to all the merchants and businesses. They really open up their businesses, and they have all kinds of treats and refreshments and great sales, and they support it every year. The DDA comes through with solid support, for the things that we need to run the event. And the recreation staff I want to give credit to, and the board always comes out real strong and helps out with that event, and it's just a good community get-together. And at 7:30 we light the tree, Santa and a special guest chosen by the supervisor. That's kind of a tradition. And then Christmas tree by Downriver Brass, and then from 7:30 to 8:30 Santa visits business along the Macomb, and Downriver Brass is playing in all the businesses, and they really honor. They've been with us for years and years, and it's just a pleasure for them, and some of our residents have been part of that group also, so it brings people together. And then there's several community events that start that weekend, and then we have plenty of tickets left with Brunch for Santa, Saturday, December 1st at Centennial Farm. It'll be $8 per person, ages 3 and older, $7 for additional children in the family, and $3 for ages 2 and younger. And we've had that for 25 years at the Recreation Department, so that's a real special event. And getting back to Tom, the Rec Commission meets on the 4th Thursdays, and Thanksgiving and Christmas always throw us off a little bit. And we've tried like the 3rd Thursday each month, and sometimes there's too many other functions going on for commissioners or the community. So this year we've moved the November and December meeting to the 29th, which is this week.
Okay.
So, and I'll send you an update, and then
Thank you, Tim.
Lauren, I will send you the last 2 meetings and detail that went into that, so you catch up a little bit on that through email, and if you need hard copies or anything like that, I can get you up to pace.
any other questions on the schedule then for this coming week? And it's going to be fun. I mean, it's for Mr. Rooney. Okay, Tim, thanks for the update. You could certainly put the schedule out better than I can. Some parts of my job are better than others, but Island Glow is probably the best part because there's lots of kids, and it's just a fun weekend. Mr. Hatley advised me he's going to have the Sacred Heart Choir along with hot cider and hot coffee at the Macomb Light. The house he's restored on Macomb Street. You've seen it with he's got his fall display out there, and he's going to, like you said, he's going to have a fire in his chimney, hot cider, hot coffee, and the Sacred Heart Choir. So feel free to stroll by. As you're strolling up and down Macomb Street, drop in.
One group we forgot in the advertisement last Friday in the newspaper was the Music Boosters. They sell scarves and they have hot chocolate, so we missed that. They're going to be out in full force, too, trying to raise funds. They'll probably get there about 5:45 right up until the...
Are they going to have a booth? Or
they'll be right in the warming tent there with hot chocolate and coffee, and they have scarves and things like that they sell.
Okay.
So wanted to
We'll support
remember.
Music Boosters then. Okay, that covers a couple of admin kind of questions. This will be our last meeting this year. So we'll be closed Christmas Day, Monday, Christmas Eve, open for business. Dale, I'm asking because I didn't, Carol wasn't in today to bail me out.
we're closed for business Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. And I believe those are on a Monday, Tuesday.
Okay, so we were looking at 4-day weekends.
We do have one more meeting this year.
December 10th. We have December 10th.
I'm sorry.
December 10th.
I'm sorry. I'm just coming off a 4-day weekend. I'm having trouble getting back. Thank you for clarifying that. Okay, so we got the closings coming up just for your planning purposes. Last day for yard waste pickup, Mr. Sedlak? December 14th, so you have basically a little over 2 weeks for the last, my Silver Maple finally unloaded. So 2 weeks left to get your yard waste out before you have to keep it until April. And as the other trustees have, we all afforded our thanks, I guess, to reinstalling us into office here. We know we've got some work ahead of us, but I'm just delighted with the board we have now. We worked well with the previous board, the new board. We have our challenges. We're going to look after our community. I have one, something to make a presentation on this, but the Grocio Alliance for the Arts, purely volunteer organization, was recognized. Angie, if you can zoom into this Pewabic tile, from the Wayne County Council for Arts, History, and Humanities, recognized the Grocio Alliance for the Arts with this new Pewabic tile. It's a Guardian building in this tile, just to acknowledge the great work our Alliance for the Arts has been doing, and will continue to do so. Always looking for volunteers to support it, always looking for artistic opportunities. The the Odd Duck Contest will be coming up, where they just make artsy duck decoys. And it's great fun, and they do a great job for the community. So congratulations to them, recognized for this award from the Wayne County Alliance for Art, or Council for the Arts, History, and Humanities. Job well done, and that complete my update. Anything else for manager's report, Mr. Riam?
Good evening. Wanted to report on a few brief items on the agenda. Under my report, you saw Historical Society update. There's a scheduling conflict. They will probably be attending one of our next meetings to give us an update on that project, so I wanted everyone to know. I was sent a message at the beginning of this meeting that the sound is very low. We checked with the technicians. The sound through this room and going out of this building is very high quality and very loud. It goes all the way to Taylor and then to our residents. So we believe there's something with the feed. If it still is a low sound, we've done everything we could on our end, and it's in process, and it could just be as simple as some equipment in Taylor. So we apologize, but we've done everything that we can do, and we hope that it was better.
That's with Comcast?
Yes, that's correct. At the beginning of the meeting, there's the brief swearing-in ceremony, and I believe it was mentioned, but I also wanted to say that, yes, unfortunately those two trustees were unable to make the formal ceremony, but also has participated in some township business prior to tonight's meeting, but were sworn in before. It clearly is appropriate for that and those things to take place. And last, I wanted to give an update on the behalf of Cliff St. Pierre, wood cutting, and I don't know if Mr. Clark wants to address that, or if you want to. So, okay. This weekend, the Open Space Committee is sponsoring a wood cutting event Saturday, December 1st from 9 to 4 with an alternate rain date of December 8th. The area that they will allow wood cutting will be in the Township open space property across from Meridian School on the east side of Meridian. Residents who wish to participate must apply for a permit. and sign a waiver here at the township, and that's being coordinated through my office, primarily my assistant, Carol Knope, and that must be done by this Friday. And if you're going to bring a helper, they also have to sign a waiver as well. And we'll need some identification with you when you make this application. And we will make a copy for you, and you will bring a copy of the waiver to the site for the Open Space Committee members to make sure that it is appropriate for you to be there. We also have available the rules. This is for downed trees and woods on those properties, and obviously the tree removal agreement. So I think Woody last year, the year before, was pretty successful. We had some weather issues, I believe, one year.
6 to 8 people go.
Mm-hmm.
Not much, but something.
And I believe there's been probably that much interest in phone calls the last few days as well. So we expect that to grow. So that is available to the residents. So with that, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Ingham. All right, I'm going to say unanimous influence of the Township Board, we're going to open up to public comment, but I tried to, and have been moving towards the 3-minute limit. The board wants me to impose a 3-minute limit. Prepare your presentations. You can get it in 3 minutes. This is public comment, not preferably not public question and answer, although I may defer to Mr. Clark when he asks for legal fees, so Ann, I'm sure you're prepared. But if you have a question for us, you know how to contact us. Let us know ahead of time. Let us research it. Then, if you want the answer publicly, you can ask it. We'll be able to answer it. To expect us to answer, as I said before, questions out of the blue doesn't do either of us any good service. So we're going to impose the 3-minute limit. That fully complies with Open Meetings Act, your right to free speech. It is a recommendation from the Townships Association and most communities. You have ample time to speak. This is you have plenty of other opportunities also. You can speak at the Commons, you can write an article for the newspaper, but this is public comment at our Board of Trustees business meeting. So with that, opening up to extended public comment. Most of you know the drill. Introduce yourself, and 3 minutes. Please no slander, please no attacks. The microphone is open. Mr. Clark.
Legal fees, Woody Clark, Park Lane, Cozille.
Legal fees on the warrant list dated 11/1/2012 to O'Reilly Rance, I'm going to have to really get on to say this, Ranciello. Am I close? I am, okay. Ranciello, the amount of $756. Hold on one more. And on the warrant list dated 11/16/2012 to O'Reilly Ranciello in the amount of $2,274.
2,000 what?
$274.
Okay. We had some road replacements, improvements. Was that all done? In Potawatomi Woods? Did you guys completely do the job, Ted?
I believe it is, Barry.
The job's been completed for this year.
Okay, was the job completed for the amount of money that was designated? Or was there an override or not?
I don't know the exact amount, but if you want.
I'll stop in. Okay. Our roads, everybody complains about our roads, but if you go out and run around the outside, like the new 4th Street road that was put up, you get to Eureka, there's a bump there on the 3rd lane on the outside coming south. Brand new